share my screen. So this is the last session of our course, and the final things that we are going to cover in today's session are how do we put a drawing in the sheet, and also how do we make walkthroughs, renderings, and finally how do we make the collaboration happen. Okay, so without any delay, let's just open up existing project, that is a sample file. So you can see here it's already there, but these sheets I just wanted to delete. So I'll just go to floor plan. If you scroll down over here in this project browser, you can see there is something called sheets. So you can find everything that is related to your project. I'll just delete the project. So I imagine this as a plan, and you want to put this plan in a sheet. For that, I have to create, I have to have my own set of sheets. So you can see we have multiple sheets here. I'll just delete everything. So we don't have any sheets in the project right now. So if you want to create new sheet in your project, you have to come to your project browser. Then you have to scroll down and you'll find something called sheets over here. Right click on the sheet, just go for new sheet. Here you'll be greeted with a title block, a text, a block where it asks what is the type of sheet you want. Here there are certain default sheets that are there. You can choose any one of sheets. Say even the sheet which you are loading is not available here. If you think, just go for load. You can just go for the template and you can see title block over here in this templates or in these blocks. Select the title block, and depending on your project size or the printer size, you can select your sheets A1, A2, A3 to A4. Let's say we are going to take A2 or A3. It's mostly in India, we'll use A2 or the A3. Depending on a project, let's say we are going to use A3, hit open. So this A3 will be loaded in our project. Okay. So this A3 will be then in this sheets. You can see this A3 is loaded. Once it's loaded, if you want to edit that, you can just go for edit family. Here, you can customize it as per your company standard. So for example, if I want to make a line over here, instead of this horizontal thing, you can just give a line like this and just remove this logo. If you want your own company logo, just go to delete this. You can just delete this. You can go to create and use all these tabs. If you want to insert an image, you can just import an image and place it over here. And you know the title block, right? Whatever that is required in your title block, whether horizontal orientation or vertical orientation, and what are the things you want to place in your title block, you can just customize it. And after customizing it, if you want to save it, you can save it as a family and you can load it anywhere in your one, because this is the thing you are going to do only once in your company. Whoever does it first, they have to make it proper and then they can just save it as a family. So whenever you are in requirement for the sheet, you can just take this sheet and directly load in your project. So that will be here. So this is what the sheet we have edited out. This is what the sheet that is as per our requirement. You can just give whatever the input you want to give. After that, you have to come back to a floor plan. So say this is the plan I want to keep. Then after finalizing what you want to keep, whether you want to fit in everything at once or you want to make it half. Let's say you want to put it everything. Then you can just come to your sheet, click on any plan which you want to keep it. For example, let's say I want to keep this one. Only click once, just don't double click it. Click once and try to drag that over here. That will be there. You can see this is pretty big, right? This whole project is not going to be in my plan. For that, what we are going to do is go to entry plan. As I've said, you can duplicate, right? You can just duplicate. Now, after duplicating, what you can do, entry plan, you can just rename it entry plan or ground plan, first half or part one. Then what you can do is you can just, if you scroll down over here, there is something called crop view. Annotation crop. If you check three items, you can variably control what that is visible in this particular view, like this. So for example, if you restrict this plan over here like this, and what you can do is you can just go to entry level 1 crop. Here also you can just do it. And what you can do is now you can mark it like this or bring it like this. So this will be restricted only to this level, whatever that is there visible. Now you can see we have made this plan into two parts so that we can fit our sheet. Let's go to sheet again. Now I'll just go to entry level one. Just don't double click it only once. Even if it is bigger than this, what you have to do is you have to scale it down. For that, here you can see there is something called 1:8 scale. You can decrease the scale. So 1:8 scale means, right? 1/8:1 means whatever that we are taking in the drawing, if it is of 1/8 of an inch, the actual value or actual size in the field is going to be 1 feet. Then you can probably decrease its size. So it's 1/8, right? You can just go for 3/32 or 1/16. Just let's see what this thing looks if I make it 1/16. So you can see, but the only thing is the annotations will be. Second, I think it's frozen. The only thing you have to my PC, I guess. So here you can see I can just scroll it like this and I can make it fit. The only thing you have to be wary of is annotations sometimes will be much bigger than your actual drawing because of the scaling. So that you have to remember whether you take the perfect annotation for your scale selected. So how do you know that? You have to, in the beginning of your project itself, you have to figure it out whether the taken sheet is okay with your annotation or not. So here you can see the scale we have set is 1/16. Whatever the annotations we are taking, right, that will definitely affect our scale. So in the beginning itself, we have to figure it out, like we have to estimate whether the annotation what we are taking is okay or will this be reduced or like compressed, or will it be actually going to fit in our drawing. Then you have to choose the type of annotation we are going to use. You can increase or decrease this. That's not a matter. Like I can just click on this. You can just go to edit type. Then you can see the pattern, the segment weight and all. You can just try to decrease it or increase it as per your like the I mean how it's going to be visible. You can just visualize it and then try to increase or decrease. This can also be done in line types as we use in AutoCAD. I'll just show where line types is. So you can see the thin lines. It's not like this is just thickening and thinning of the line, but the actual line type uh, we are going to see in 1 second. For so you can see here If I press VG, you have your annotation categories. In this annotation categories, let's say you want to increase or decrease your type of this grids. I can just go for grid over here. Just select the grid. Now you can see how the line is going to be visible. Whether it's going to be visible half tone or not. Then you can just select this particular grid. You can just go for object styles. In the object styles, now we can just increase or decrease based on the line or based on the scale we have taken here. So whatever the scale we have taken, whether it's too big, then you can just go for this line weight or the line type. You can increase or decrease its value. So it's advisable that whatever the scale we are going to take, we will be going to stick on that scale for the whole project. If you are going to change in between the scale, the things will look like this. So after drawing everything, first before marking anything, you have to bring the drawing to the sheet. Then check it whether it's okay or not. If it is visible, then only you have to give the annotations. So that's the one thing you have to look out for. Let's say I've drawing over here. I'll just show what I've said. So I'll just draw something like this here. This is a small drawing, right? So it's not going to have any problem. Something like this. Now I'll just go to sheet, right click, new sheet. I'll load the sheet. Say I want to go for A3. Open. OK. So this is my sheet. Now if I want to drag and drop, just drag and drop. Here you can see it's a small drawing, so it's going to fit. As soon as, even though if it's not fitting, then what you can do is you can just select this drawing. You can just go to scale. You can just increase or decrease its scale. I've just made 50. You have to just make 200. Now you can see it's been decreased. Now after decreasing its scale, you can just move it around. After moving, if you don't find these things unnecessary, or if you find these things unnecessary, here you can just go for crop view. And as soon as I click that thing, so there is a precursor or there is something for me to adjust until where my drawing should be visible, because these they will be there in the project, but you don't want them in your drawing or in your sheet. So you can just adjust something like this, then only this thing will be visible. If you want to add material or just add a text over here, you can just do it. So like what this is, or the description of this. Not only this, you can just give your 3D view also. Let's say I'll just go to 3D. I'll just take one more sheet. Same sheet, OK? So this is what new sheet is. I'll just go to 3D view. And if I'm OK with this 3D view to be displayed, I will just make it realistic. Now, again, I'll just go to sheet. So this is the second sheet, right? So this 3D view, first view, I can just drag it, drop it like this. All right. Here, since we don't have any annotation, it's easy for us to scale. You can see the description. If you want to scale it, you can just scale it. So not only one, you can have multiple views for the same project like this. So you can see levels are present for this particular view. You can present it. Not only the 3D view, let's say you have a section. I will just go to architecture. Section like this. OK. Section can also be shown. I will take a fixed section here. Something like this. If you want this section to be shown, that can also be shown. Let's say I want to show this section in this particular sheet. Here is your section. Select that, drag and drop. You have your 3D, your section. You can just double click it and rename it. Whatever you want to name, you can just name it. Here also you can name, right, that section, what that section is or where that section belongs. You can name it here. That will be displayed over here, and its scale also displayed. Here it's in metrics, so it's showing 1:2 and all. This project, it's in units are in inches, feet and inches. So you can see the scales are in feet and inches. So whatever the units we are going to set, our sheets also, or the scale in the sheets also will be in that units. So until now, whatever we've drawn in the drawing area, it's not going to affect. The scale is going to be 1:1 only, whatever we draw. Whenever you are going to place annotations, this is going to be a problem. Or if you don't check it in your sheet beforehand, selecting your annotation, that is going to be a problem. So it will take a lot of effort for us to correct and place the proper annotation before going to the sheet. Once for the selected scale, the selected annotation is going to be visible properly, then our job is done. We can just continue with that. But the problem arises when we are having multiple scales for the same drawing in a given scenario, then we have to adjust a bit of the annotations. So that is the one challenge you have to remember. Okay. So that is what about sheets are. The next thing is we'll see how we can generate a walkthrough and rendering. First thing is let's see how we can have a rendering. I'll just turn off these things, or I'll just go to this plan. I'll turn off these things. So imagine I am standing here and I want to see this building externally. Okay, with a rendered output or a 3D output or a 2D output colors. So we can do that in Revit. That is not a high-end rendering, but that can just give you an idea of what's happening. For that, you have to go to this 3D option again. You have something called camera. Select the camera and place it wherever you want. Place it and expand its ray so that it captures the view you want to see. And just click it. You have your output. Then this can be turned to realistic. This again depends on your graphic card and the compatibility of the graphic card and the hardware settings. So however, like if your hardware is capable enough, it will have a good rendering output like this. So this is how, if you are looking in that particular place, will be visible. Again, this will also be in the 3D view over here. You can just go to any sheet and drag and drop this particular view also. So this is not a complete render, but this is like an outlook of how that is going to look in this particular location if you are looking from there. So this is also applicable for all the views and all the places. No matter where you are, you can just use it to have your output. So there is one more option, that is you can just do the same thing with camera or the camera movement, whatever we have given, you can just do that same with the movement of camera, that is walkthrough. Select the walkthrough. So this is say a pathway of a building and you want to walk into this building in the corridor. Just give the first click, walk like this. No, like you can take the steps like this and you are going to enter here like this and you want to end it over here. Okay, just hit finish. Now what you're going to do, just go for edit walkthrough. Just go for previous keyframe all the way to the beginning. Then you just go for open walkthrough. This again depends on your system's graphic card. I'll just make it shaded because at least we'll get a decent output. Hit play. So you will have a 3D visualization of our corridor, whatever we have created. If you want to
Hello, sir.
Are you there?
I think sir's internet connection has some issue.
Yeah, something went wrong with the connection. Let us wait.
Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry, there was a network issue.
No problem.
So, in case if you want to like view it completely slow, you can also do that. You can just go for this walkthrough again. Now remember,
Sir,
I have
sir, the display is not visible, sir.
1 second.
So
So now,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So in case if you want to take this walkthrough very slowly, so whatever I've shown earlier, I've taken fast steps, right? You can just take steps very small like this. So it increases number of steps you are taking. Like this. I can just finish it then. Now, if you want to view it, first you have to go for edit walkthrough. Just go for previous keyframes. So these are the steps that we have taken. So you have to go to the dead end. Just go for open walkthrough. Then you have to change your settings. So if you are putting realistic, it will take a time. So I'll just make shaded over here. If you have high-end graphic card, you can make it realistic also. So you can see now it's very slow, right? Because we have taken multiple steps. Like that. Then you can just go for your plan. So if you're okay with that, keep it or you can delete it. There is one more option. You can just open walkthrough. You can just this walkthrough can be achieved in the floor second any floor also outside our building also like this. Say I have taken walkthrough and you can just select your point like this. Finish it. Now we can just select this. There is something called the range or offset that you can adjust over here. What is the detail you want to see? Also the parts that you have to see. Now in the visibility graphics, you can just select what are the things that have to be displayed. And if you come here, the rendering settings, you will see how or what is the depth you want to achieve in this walkthrough. If you put high or the best, it will take a lot of time, and also it requires graphics. And also you can just give a background image over here, and that background image only we repeated instead of sun. If I put sun and artificial, you have sun and also background artificial lightings as well. If you want only artificial lighting, you can just give these lightings in your building, which you have already placed in the ceilings. So whatever we placed in the ceilings will be displayed over here. You can light that also. And also in the background, if you're showing the sky, how should the sky look? If you have an image to be represented in the background, this is for useful only for, like, say, camera option. You can just give the image also here. Later you can just adjust the exposure of your camera. These are like Photoshop, similar to Photoshop, not to that extent. Just select this. You can access your walkthrough over here or renderings. So these are the renderings that they have already made. The walkthroughs will be here like this. Then so I think these are the things which you can adjust. And the frames. This is the fastness. How fast you want your walkthrough to happen. So you can see there are 15 frames per second. You can increase or decrease the frames, and finally you can just double click that walkthrough. Even after double clicking also, you can just add certain settings over here, like renderings and all. Then you can just select your view. OK, then you can just where is our you can just see play like this. So this is what fly mode in walkthrough, which enables us to circle the whole building. So we can just go to any floor, the top floor or the topmost floor. From that topmost floor, we can just create view like this. You can just press escape anytime. If you want to make this in color, just make it shaded. Now we can play it again. It's going to look similar to this. Here, these are not rendered because we have made it in shader. If you want to make it rendered, you have to use this realistic mode. So that will be something similar to that. I'll just escape. Or if you want this output to be exported, you can also do that. You just go for file, export. So this is a image and animation, right? This is a walkthrough. So whatever the walkthrough we are there, the current walkthrough, you can just set all your timestamps or your keyframes and all, hit OK. Then you can just save it any way you want. That will be saved. I'm not saving currently because it will take a lot of time. So there is one more thing called rendering this whole Revit in external softwares. OK, so whatever we've seen until now, we have seen in the default software. So ever heard about something called Lumion? Lumion?
Yeah, I heard about that software.
So this is one software. The next software is this is one of the best software to edit in real time. So this is something that is a plugin for Revit. Say you can dump your whole model in Lumion and get the output like this. So like this is what we give to customers, right? The output will look similar to this. What Enscape does is, Enscape, say here, you can see this picture over here. So whatever the changes we do in real time, in Enscape, it's going to be rendered in real time. You can see the image over here. So you can just check out this website. You can have your 30 days free trial also for this particular plugin or a software. So this enables us to concentrate only on rendering. So you don't have to worry about rendering in Revit. Whatever we do, we just modeling in Revit. You can just download this software. This is a paid version software. You can download this software and just carry on these renderings in this software, so that all the rendering part what we do in Revit can be skipped over there. You can just produce until sheets and the rendering can be done in Enscape. If you want to show your clients, you can just show. The beauty over here is this Enscape can be directly plugged to the VR headsets. So what happens is, so the once we've done our modeling, we can just push the whole model to Enscape, and from here in the Enscape, we can just connect our VR headset and we can just show our clients how the building is going to look, or how the choice of material, if you want to judge the choice of material or the location, whether the location is going to fit, the building is going to fit in the vicinity or not. All this can be addressed with this VR environment, where you can just push the model in this Enscape software, and from Enscape you can connect directly to this VR environment and view the whole model in Enscape. That will also be real time. So if you take about Lumion, what happens is once you've done your modeling, you have to then push your whole model. But here in Enscape, it's simultaneous. Whatever the change we do, that will be reflected in real time over there. So you don't have to wait for the final project or final outcome. And also, if you see something odd over here, you can just change it immediately, and that change can be tracked here immediately. Okay, that's an advantage of Enscape. This is also compatible with all the softwares that are present over here. So that is what our rendering is. So we'll come to the final topic, that is collaboration. Collaboration, as I've said, it used to be different before, but now no one is using this method. So I don't know whether it's okay to tell this method or not, because mostly people are not using this. They have shifted to BIM. There is something called BIM over here. You can just save it in BIM 360. So this method is kind of outdated right now, because everyone has shifted from internal server based system to BIM based system. So if you want to use this old system, first thing you have to do is you have to save your project. You can just save it anywhere you want. Then you have to go for this collaboration. You have to create something called work set over here, or you have to first go to collaborate. So it will ask whether it's within your network, which means in your company, or in the cloud. If you hit in the cloud, it's not going to take, because the current software version is not compatible, and also I don't have any BIM 360 license. If you have that license, it will be highlighted in the cloud, will be highlighted. But right now I can just share my file only within my system or within my network with your LAN connection. Then you have your collaborate in cloud, which is not possible for me because I don't have any BIM 360 account. You can see there is no BIM 360 account with me, so it's not possible. I have to go for traditional method. So traditional method is you have to create work sets. As I've said, a large project, many people work on the same file or the same project. For them, what you have to do is you have to give it or allow them in the form of work sets. You have to create work sets. So you can see this is a name or owner. So you can just create new and give some X person name. So that person is having access, whether editable or not. If you click no, you cannot edit the model. he is he a owner for him also. The one who has the license is going to be the owner. And can he open? Yes. If you click no, it can also not open. So these are the permissions we are going to give. Then you can just add as many people as you like in the project. Give all the permissions. Hit OK. So whatever the workset we are currently in, that will be an active workset. So say this is XX workset. If you think, just open this workset file, save as project desktop, project 1, we write. Then what we rename is project 1 underscore XX dot RVT. Now what happens is this will be renamed as project 1 XX. This file will be sent to that XX person. Okay. So this is what it happens. Now I'll just close everything. So these are base file or the master file. I'll just close everything. I will just make this workset 1 as my primary file. Now, if I want to open that XX file, I'll just double click this. So this XX will be my active workset. Whatever I do over here, say like this, whatever I do, so you can just check it. This is an XX workset. After finishing my day or after finishing my updates, I can just go with synchronize with central, synchronize now. This XX workset will be your main workset that will be automatically pushed to a central model. So whatever the work I do now will be synchronized with the central model. Now, if I go to this YY workset, which will be with the YY person, he can also add all the data he wants. Say I can just add something like this. Then I can just go for we have synchronized everything, right? Now let me close this one also. So this is what our project 1, right? Project 1 XX is being loaded with all the settings, right? So this is what our project without before we have saved. And we have made project XX as a main model and we have sent it to that person. Let's open. So we can see we have the modification that we have done in project XX and also we have the modification that we have done in YY. Likewise, we can create a central model first and save it somewhere and then send individual persons first. Whatever the names are, you can assign whatever the names, you can just send it to everyone. And as soon as they do their work, they can just go for synchronize with central. Once this is done, if you open your central model, which in our case is XX, all the settings related to this person will be there. So here, this is the same system, so I can just see XX and YY. But if you are using 2 or 3 systems, you cannot just simply change it to XX because you don't have permissions. Here in this case, in my case, this is a server, this is the PC of XX, this is a PC of Wi-Fi. So I'm seeing everything, but in real time, that will be of 3 or 4 more systems. So you don't have the permission or the chance to weave others' work. Okay, that is how the synchronization works. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts in this one?
Sir, can you
Hello?
just repeat how? Yeah, sir. Sir, can you just repeat how we can like add those names in the sense that why you have added, no?
Yeah. Just in the work, there is something called
Work.
collaboration that we have done in the beginning. Next to that, we have work sets. Just click on that work sets. We have the names. This is a default work set. The main file which we have saved in the beginning, right? This is what that one. The next file, the first file, whichever the file is there after the default work set, this will be our central model. The next, you can just add Y, Y, Z, Z. You can just add any names or any numbers. Doesn't matter. This will be our central file, and whatever that we are going to do here, as soon as we press synchronize with central, will be saved in this file. Okay.
Okay.
And we can just share the project standards also. If you want to share the project standards to others, you can just share it and give the permission. If you don't want someone to edit, you can just give it non-work editable. Here you can see, if I click XX as an active, that will be an active workset. After making XX active, I'll just send that file to XX person. Then if you want YY to be active, I'll just hit OK. Then I'll just save it. This is in ZZ. And you can see if I go to workset, you can see ZZ in active mode. Whatever we save is going to be in ZZ workset. Now what I'll do, I'll just save it and send it to that person. But remember, this will be our main central mode. Whatever he does will be here only. Okay, that you have to remember. That will be our central model. That should be stored in a secure location, or should not be accessible to everyone. Okay, that permissions you have to look. Say for example, if you don't want someone to edit this thing, you can just turn off so that no one can edit this. That will be an active workset in that PC only. But here we are in ZZ workset. We can edit this thing. Hello? Yeah.
Yes.
We can edit this. It's not going to disturb. Once we have done our work, we can just go for collaborate. We can just go for synchronize with center. It will be loaded. And the work set, if I go for XX work set, you can see non-editable. Even though if I am in XX work set, you can see these are there. Right. So that's what our worksets mean. So, but this has changed significantly with something called BIM 360, where we have an icon over here called BIM 360. Whatever we do, we just click on that icon. It will be directly loaded in our central server. It will be uploaded to that server. It will not be stored in our PC. It will be uploaded to the server, and that in that server we are going to make the 3D model. What we have done in this XX file, that will be done in that file in the server. So the minor errors like editing something or like deleting something, it's not going to happen. Or by mistake you can just edit, or you can just delete, or you can just forget something. Those will not happen in the central mode. And also the access are way more strict. Unless you have ID and password, you cannot access that file. And also here, you have to, every day when you log in, you have to log in with your ID and password. So that is the recent updation. So these Autodesk softwares are not standalone anymore. You have to, just like Facebook or Instagram, you have to log in every time. Okay. That is what a recent addition is. Now, people with standalone licenses are not going to be affected with that. Only people with multiple licenses and are going to work with that environment. For them, it's mandatory. Okay. I think I've covered topics.